So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a bit more about the technique involved in squatting. So we're going to start with 3 points of contact or tripod foot. Then we're going to talk about knee stability, and then we're going to talk about creating torque. Okay. So what you'll notice is that the body works in stages. So we have stability on the foot, mobility in the ankle. So the joint in the ankle is mobile. The knee is stable. We want stability in the knee. We want mobility in the hip, and then stability in our core, mobility in our shoulders. So it kind of goes in layers like that. Okay, so that's why when we're doing the warm-ups and things in the previous video, that we're looking at getting those joints mobile, and we've got loads of other things to get joints mobile that we didn't cover, but we covered plenty of them. So 3 points of contact, what does that mean? So if we take off shoes, I don't need these anymore. A lot of people have collapsed arches, okay? So their foot is collapsed down in like that. Okay, so if we look at Sam's foot, it's got nice neutral arches, okay? So his arches are, like, it's got a good shape to them, they're not too high, and they're not flattened down. If he collapses his foot, he's actually struggling to do that, so that's good. He's got really strong, good arches. And that means he's got a really good, stable foundation to squat from. Some people will not have that, and I certainly didn't have any arch in my foot at one point, and had a lot of injuries because of the lack of the arch. So my foot was collapsed down like that, and if you look at that sort of from the front there, looking down, that just doesn't look good for the foot. It's not a nice position for your foot to be in. So the 3 points of contact is your heel, your toe and that knuckle there, and the big toe and this knuckle. So if you can balance your 3 points of contact between those 3 points and hold those 3 points throughout your squat, then most of the time you're going to be pretty safe. Like, nothing can go wrong. Okay, so if you swap close to me, Sam. Yep. If you go 3 points of contact, okay, so you're balancing your weight between those 3 points and you're squatting down. And as you squat down, you're just making sure that these arches don't collapse in, okay? And one of the big things that will happen is if the arch collapses in, the knee will follow. So the knee will actually collapse in. So if you turn and face these guys, is that if you squat and let the arch collapse, the knees will internally rotate, and that's called a valgus knee position, and that's something we really definitely don't want to happen in anything we do, okay? So we never ever want that. So think about 3 points of contact, because if his knees did collapse in, it means he's lost that point of contact there, okay? Another thing, lots of surfers in the Wittering where we are, big surfer toe syndrome is something that we get around here. So big toe is flexed up in the air, and that's because of wearing flip-flops too much. Because when you walk, you have to flex your big toe to keep the flip-flop on. Okay, so that's something else that might come up, is big toe, and then his weight's back on the heel and he's lost that point of contact. Okay, so if you try and squat with your weight on your heels, you're going to feel pretty unstable, you're going to fall backwards. It's quite hard, isn't it? Okay. The other point of like things, which is actually what I'm doing now, is I've lost my heel position is up. Okay, so my knee is in a really big angle. Okay, a lot of us are taught manual handling techniques, so we're taught to squat, like pick stuff up without hinging or without bending the back. Okay, so we squat down without bending the back, and then your heel is going to have to come off like this. Okay, so your heel comes up, and then that puts a lot of flexion on the knee joints. Okay, so we don't want the heels to come up either. That's losing their third point of contact. Okay, especially when it's loaded, that's also going to create shear in the knee. Okay, so we definitely want to keep all 3 points of contact. Okay, that's 3 points of contact done. Okay, when you're creating those 3 points of contact, there's another thing I want you to think about, and that's creating torque. So you're going to screw your feet into the ground. So you've got your 3 points, and you're going to rotate out as if you were doing this. Okay, so as if you're pulling the ground apart. You've got a piece of paper between your toes, and you're pulling the toes apart. So you're spreading and twisting in. And can you feel what that's doing to your glutes? Yeah, so his glutes is fired up, they're switched on. And that just automatically turns on those muscles. And it also takes out the slack from the system. So even like his knees now, because he's got that 3 points of contact, there's a lot less wiggle in his knees. Okay, so you don't need to do it 100%, it's only 30% or so. And as you go down, you should feel a lot more stable in the squat, yeah? Cool. Okay, so that's your knee stability and torque. those are three really important points to remember in the squat. So your 3 points of contact, your knee stability, and creating the torque. Next video, we're going to do more about the bracing in your core, your knee flexion, the difference between bending at the knees and the hip, and then thinking about your head position. Okay, thanks for watching.